7 seconds. That's how long somebody will look at your CV before deciding whether to shortlist you or not. So if you're not getting enough interviews, it's because your first 7 seconds isn't good enough. Today, I'm going to show you my top 5 tips for making your CV stand out, making the most of your first 7 seconds. Here we go. Think about it this way. If the job you're applying for has 100 applicants for one position, they are most likely going to interview 5 people. The job of your CV and your application is to make sure you're one of those 5 people. If your strategy right now is that you have a generic CV on a couple of sides of A4 paper that says you're hardworking, you've done some stuff before, you're a team player, then you're extremely unlikely to stand out. Let me show you how to do it differently and finally start getting interviews. Quick one. If you're currently out of work and you're looking for a new position, then you might find our free email series Hunter to be useful. We've designed it to be a support for people who are looking for a new position. We share a bunch of tips and tools to help you land a new role. It's totally free. I'll put the link to sign up in the video description below. For the past 18 years, I've been recruiting teams and building teams. I've hired over 400 people, I've seen more than 10,000 applications, and I've interviewed several thousand people. So I know a little bit about what employers look for when reviewing applications, and I want to share that with you today. The first thing that you need to understand is that you've got very little time. I mentioned at the start, 7 seconds. Statistically, that's how long a recruiter is going to look at your CV before deciding whether to throw it in the bin or not, put it on the shortlist pile or not. You don't have long to stand out. These people are looking at hundreds, maybe even thousands of CVs in a week and a month, and you really have to set yourself apart from all of the other ones that they're just going to discard. Tip number 1 is target the right jobs. What a lot of people do is they go through a job board, they see every single job that might take their interest, and they fire off a generic CV to each and every single one of them. They apply for hundreds of jobs. I've heard of people applying for 200-300 jobs or different positions without getting any interviews or any feedback. That needs to change. The main issue with this approach is that you're applying for so many different roles that you can't put that much time and effort into any one application. This isn't that smart and isn't that likely to succeed. Rather than apply for 100 jobs that you may or may not want, we're going to try and find 2 or 3, maybe 4 roles at companies that you actually want to work for. Then you can put so much more focus into those applications and hopefully get one of these dream jobs rather than applying for hundreds of roles, maybe some you don't even really want. To do that, you need top tip number 2, research. You now want to really research and look into the roles and the companies that you come across. Job boards, LinkedIn, and review websites are a good place to start, but also have a look in your own network and see if any of your friends, even a second or third level connection, already work there or used to work there, can give you any insight into the company. You want to really get a sense for what this company's about. What's its culture? What's its philosophy? Where's it going? Pretty much all successful companies are recruiting at any given time. So have a look for businesses that you admire, brands that you like, and places you would actually like to work. It's worth you reading all the job adverts at the company, not just for the positions that you're applying for, but the other roles as well. It'll help you get an idea of where the company's at, where their strategy is, what type of roles they've got, what projects they're working on, and give you a more broader sense of what the business is all about. Once you've got a company that you want to work at and you've found a role that's right for you, then you want to get a sense as to whether this is going to be a good fit for you. Most people hate their jobs within 12 months and leave within 24, and I believe that it's because they don't put enough effort up front into understanding if the company will be a good cultural fit for them. What's this company's values? How do they treat their staff? How do they treat their customers? Places like Trustpilot are great for customer reviews. Glassdoor is a brilliant source for corporate reviews and reviews of past employees. As I said before, speak to people, ask about, really do your research. A company's culture is so much more than what they might put on their own website. Do a proper investigation and get a real sense as to whether this is a job that you really want or not. If you find a company that you like the look of, but they don't have a role that seems right for you, don't be too put off by that. Maybe put them down the list a little bit, but as I say, most growing, successful companies are always looking for talent, particularly people who really feel aligned with them culturally. So you can always apply to a company, send them an application, even if there is no role that specifically sounds like it's right for you. Now you've got a couple of companies and a couple of roles that you think are right for you. It's time for step 3. Tailor your application. Remember at the start when you were applying for 100 roles with a generic CV? Well, now we've scrapped that. What that gives us is an opportunity to craft an application for each of these individual companies and jobs. We can be much more specific and much more tailored towards the role that you're now going to be applying for. You have already researched the company, their values, their culture, the philosophy of the business, their mission, what it is that they're doing for their customers. You have that information, so we're going to use that to curate a CV and an application that is very specific to the role that it is that you want. This also means that you can show them in your application that you're exactly what they're looking for. If you can use your research skills to find out the name of the person recruiting for the role, not necessarily the person in the recruitment department, but the actual hiring manager, then make a note of their name and find out everything that you can about them. That's going to be important later. Use all this information to put something together that uses the keywords and values from the company, aligns them with your own personal values and beliefs, and really demonstrate and personalize the application so that you're saying, I meet the requirements that you have for this specific job. Really what I'm saying here is the more personalized and tailored you can get, the better or more powerful this will be. Tip number 4, be creative, stand out. There's a traditional view that a CV has to be a 2-page piece of paper that is you just saying how good you are. A lot of companies want that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the only thing that you submit. You can get creative about it. You can do something a bit different, something to help you in those first 7 seconds stand out. Remember, this is your perfect job. You've spent loads of time researching it and you really want this position. What can we do to help them understand that you're the right candidate? It depends on your skill set, but rather than a 2-page piece of paper, you can think about making a video. You could think about making a website, a presentation of some sort, something that says to them, here's who I am, take notice, pay attention to me. Rather than you just saying you're hardworking or giving a generic list of skills that you think you've got that they might be interested in, you can get quotes and references from other people that you've worked with and incorporate those into your document if you're sticking with the document. You can enrich this document and be far more compelling than you just saying I'm a hardworking person. You want to present your CV and application together in a way that stands out. Imagine that they've got a big stack of CVs, maybe 100, maybe 150, that someone is going to sit there and go through one by one. How can yours be different? Maybe it's thicker paper, maybe it's color, maybe there's images, maybe there's something in it that makes it seem different so that somebody's going to pay it a bit more attention, give it a second look rather than just a quick glance and off it goes. Top tip 5, follow up. The idea here is that you want to start a brand new relationship with this company. A relationship that you hope results in employment and thousands of hours of time spending together as you build your career there. Sending one quick email with an attachment isn't a great way to start that. You need to put in some effort to get their attention and prove to them that you're worth a relationship. So once you put your application in, send a follow-up. Show them that you're hungry. If you manage to get the name of the person who's actually hiring for the position, then you can message them directly and make a direct contact with that person. Offer to meet for coffee. Be flexible, just show that willingness to do whatever it takes to get the job, to get their attention, to get to the interview. I even once had a candidate send a box of donuts to the office to get our attention. It had a small post-it in it with a web address. You went to that web address and they had a message for us on there. Anything you can do to stand out, get their attention, and show what a great candidate you are. Putting that all together, we started by sending out 100 generic CVs to any job that we could possibly find that might roughly be of interest. Now we've stopped doing that. We've gone down and found a very small number of jobs that we are actually interested in at companies we really want to work at. We've crafted applications specifically to that job based on research about the company, the role, and the people. We've sent that application in, we've followed up, we've stood out, and we're trying to build a relationship with those people. We're now in a much better place. Remember, you're trying to be 5 out of 100 or however many applications it is that this role gets. You need to be in that small handful of those, that subset that actually get through to interview. If you follow these steps, then I think you'll 10x your chances of getting an interview. If you don't get an interview from this first round, then don't be disheartened. There are lots and lots of good people out there all applying for the same jobs. The next step that you have to do is repeat this process. Go back and find 2 or 3 more companies that you want to work at and start this process again. Just don't revert to the spray approach that you had at the beginning, where you're applying for lots and lots of different jobs with generic CVs that aren't tailored. Trust me, this will work better. You will have an increased chance the more effort that you put into individual applications and the more tailored you can be to the role and the company. Companies want to hire people like them who believe in the same things as them. Your job is to demonstrate that to them through the quality of your application. Good luck. Go and get that interview.